Aloha and shalom. Set me up here. There we go. We are here for the new moon activation, August 2022. Shabbat shalom. So the moon is just about new. You're always feeling the energies a little bit before and a little bit after, a couple days before, a couple days after. So we're really at the pinnacle right now, just about at the pinnacle. So I'm wondering who's feeling those new moon energies. Just meaning who's feeling new, refreshed, who's feeling ready for a message, ready for a new beginning, a new lesson, a new blessing, a new challenge and gift. Let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. Where in the world are you? I'm tuning in, as usual, from the lovely Sedona, Arizona. Yay, good to see you guys tuning in. So when everybody's tuning in from around the world and they're letting us know in the comments where they're from, I like to see those points of the globe lighting up in my mind's eye, just imagining that we're lighting up the world because we are, with our awareness and our unification. New Zealand in the house, Scotland in the house, Canada in the house, Australia in the house, West Virginia in the house. So I'm just going to go ahead and start shuffling, and remember that each card represents a different aspect of who you are, who I am, who we are as one. So when we shuffle the cards, we're waking up those different parts of self. You can also see the deck as sort of your mind, not just your individual mind, but the collective mind, and each card is representing a different aspect of that mind or a different neural pathway. And we're just lighting it up. So we're touching the whole deck as we're shuffling. We're saying hello. We're activating all parts of the whole. Ooh, so good to see you guys. Texas, Arizona, Portugal, Oregon. Ooh, UK in the house. We got the whole world right here, right now. Ireland in the house. And feel free to share this video now while we're live with your family or friends, someone who could use this uplifting message or someone who could enhance it with their energy. Maybe you're a part of a group that would appreciate this live video, so go ahead and share now, or feel free to share the recording at the end. It will also go to YouTube and Instagram, Rebecca Magic, as usual, for those who don't have Facebook. So new moon just means new beginning, a fresh start. It's not really about the moon. It's about what the shape of the moon is reflecting within us. Because as in one, so in all. So whatever shape the moon is in, we can find relativity there. So it's new moon, dark sky. What's the fresh start for us? I'm gonna go ahead and take out of my special little treasure box my Hebrew cards. And they look like this. Remember, they'll be flipped because we're on a camera, so you'll have to Google the letter after if you want to know more about the letter. Okay, so for example, this is the Aleph. It's going to look flipped on the camera. That's right. We got the whole world in our hands, Cindy's saying. This is everything right here. This deck represents everything. And for those of you who are new to this activation portal, welcome, welcome. These Hebrew cards work the same way that the tarot does. Each card represents a different aspect of self. So I'm just going to go ahead and shuffle these as well. We got London in the house, Idaho in the house. All right, we're ready for a message. Thank you, archetypes, faces of the one, in advance for this message about to come through, which means thank you, each one of you. Thank me, thank we, thank one and all, because we are made of these archetypes. All of life is. So thank you in advance. Starting with the current focus, the current challenge and gift. The archetype that will be our bridge to the future. And what's something we can leave behind to free up some energy here for this task? And with the Hebrew cards as usual. I'll pull our ally of the week. Okay, there we go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Pulling the challenging gift. 7 of Cups. Cups is the suit of emotions. It's the suit of your feelings, the suit of the heart. Also, element associated is water, obviously. And this card has a lot of meaning, as they all do. So let's try to understand how it's relating to us right now. If this is the challenge and the gift, it's telling us to look at where are our emotions leading us? Where are our feelings leading us? How present have you been, or have you not been present at all through this process of examining really what it is you're feeling and why you're feeling that? This is the point of focus right now. Remember that whenever you pull a certain element, you want to focus on that dimension first. So we're focusing on emotions first, but remember that it reflects in all the other dimensions. So when you pull a card, you want to always first address the primary elemental association, which would be water, but you then want to consider how it's affecting all of the other dimensions of your being. How is it affecting you physically, mentally, spiritually? Okay, if you want to know more about this, my books talk about this. Ask me about my books. It's not just about the element pulled. But first we want to look at that element. We want to look at our emotions. Okay, what are my emotions telling me right now? Are my emotions guiding me in a way that is clear, in a way that is true? Or are my emotions, check out the cloud, are my emotions clouding not only my truth, but the truth? What's going on here? So it's important to really meditate, is a key word of this card. Meditate on those feelings, analyze, go deeper, really look at why you're feeling these things. And the way to navigate the challenge that comes with this archetype is to come back to the truth that is within not only your heart, but the one heart. Come back to the ultimate truth. Call it universal law, call it the commandments, call it the laws of nature, laws of the cosmos, whatever you want to call it. Look to those truths that are eternal, that are eternally reliable, and really sit in that space. This is the antidote here. When we're feeling the dark end of this archetype, this is the medicine. This is the antidote. What we have to do is get back to that space of purity and truth at the center of our one heart that we all share. And really sit there in that stillness long enough for you to really remember, for you to really feel it. And then come out of that space and back into your reality, carrying that remembrance. And look at where there's no resonance with what you've been feeling or what you've been thinking. Okay, so you want to go to that familiar place of truth long enough to really let it sink in, so that when you come back to your reality, to the material details of your reality, you can clearly feel, you can clearly point out what has been deluding you, what has been distracting you, what has been simply a product of your emotional overwhelm. But you can only do this when you have that contrast. So you need to let it all go briefly, let it all go, come back to that place of truth. Whatever it takes for you to get there, do that. Whether it's be in nature, be with someone you love who you don't have any drama going on with right now, someone who can just hold a peaceful space for you, or just be alone, be with yourself. It's important to be able to do that. But right now is an emotional time. Okay, so if you're experiencing more of the challenging end of this, and don't just look to the challenge or the gift, look to both, because we're beings of polarity, so I don't buy reversals. There are always ways in which the archetypal energy is manifesting both negatively and positively. And even if you were to say, no, I'm only experiencing this in a positive way, You're still missing out if you don't consider the negative way, because you could be enhancing that positivity even more with your conscious awareness. You could also be, instead of ignorantly denying the negative end of the spectrum, you can be educated about it so that you could, at the very least, which is still a lot, it's everything, hold space for someone else who might experience it at some point. Maybe they're experiencing it right now, and you can't be that best friend or best counterpart because we're literally one. So even if you really don't feel this energy is manifesting for you negatively, we're all one. So if someone is experiencing it, don't you want to be able to identify that? And it still applies directly to this individual you in this life, even if someone else is experiencing it, because if you observe it in someone else, you can still form realizations that are highly applicable to your own life here now. So my point is, don't deny any one end of the spectrum. See the whole thing. That's how you get the most of your education or about these archetypes, okay? So again, if you're on the more challenging aspect of this card, what you're going to be experiencing is emotional overwhelm, feeling completely unsure which way to go because your emotions are just keeping you down. Maybe you're physically feeling the effects at this point. You're feeling physically ill because you're feeling imbalanced because too much of your being is drowning in a specific emotion. And it doesn't necessarily just mean an uncomfortable emotion. It could be a really good feeling one. But it doesn't matter. It's not just about how it's feeling, if it's feeling crappy and uncomfortable, or if it's feeling juicy and amazing and delicious. The point is it good for you? Is it guiding you in the appropriate direction? You know, lots of people are hooked on drugs that are super bad for them, but it sure feels good in that moment. So don't deceive yourself. This is why it's important to come back to that space of universal truth where there's neutrality. Because if you don't get to that space of neutrality, you will be biased based on whatever overwhelming emotions are you've been feeling lately. And again, good feelings or bad feelings, beyond your judgment of what you're feeling. Your feelings may be misleading you. So now is a time to really look at that. If you're on the more positive end of the spectrum, you're staying aware, you're staying emotionally clear, you have healthy boundaries, you're able to tell whose feelings are whose, whether they're your own feelings or you pick them up from someone else, you're just feeling empathy for someone else. You're able to clearly distinguish your own ideas from someone else's. Okay? And regardless of whether you're going through the more challenging aspect of this card or the more positive aspect of this card, it's still all positive. It's still all for your growth. Everything is perfect as it is. There is nothing outside of divine order. So start with accepting exactly where you're at. Okay, but Seven of Cups is about illusions of the heart. We can only solve this challenge. We can only move through this challenge when we are able to hold up our feelings and what we're claiming our truth is to the true truth of one and all. When you can hold up what you're thinking or feeling to that absolute truth, you will know which of those thoughts and feelings are appropriate to continue with, and which of those thoughts and feelings need to be sacrificed, surrendered, so that you can be on the highest path. But this is the only way to get back to that absolute truth. So with this challenge, we're being asked to look at the ways in which we've strayed from that truth and look at the manipulations of our original stories we're telling ourselves. Look at the ways in which our ego is creeping in and starting to change her minds about things that shouldn't be compromised, about the truth. It's distorting the truth. Where are we distorting the truth? And in order to have the energy to be present to do this work, we have an ace. Aces contain all of the raw power of the element that's pulled. This is Ace of Swords. Swords is the suit of challenges. So we're receiving, with this card, there's a boost of energy to deal with our challenges, to put it in short. But if we're walking away from this, what does that look like? If we're walking away from this, if we need to release this in order to do more of this, what does that mean? It means that right now is not a time to be so forthcoming, to be so outright with what we're feeling. Be patient. Take a moment. Take a moment. Understand that too, we're at the time of the new moon where it's so sensitive, right? Because beginnings write the script for the rest of the story. The beginning is the seed for the rest of the story. It's setting a blueprint. So everything we think, say, and do right now at this time of the new moon is going to direct the rest of the cycle. So it's saying, whoa, pull back, calm down, put your sword away, okay? You think of the Ace of Swords as like, I'm here. This is my truth. I got this. I'm going to make it through. And there's a time and a place for that. Oh, show. That's why it's a card in the deck. That's why it's a part of who we are. But it's not the one we need right now. So it's saying take a break. Calm down with your bad self. Calm down. Tone down the energy just a bit. Still be yourself. Be your authentic self. You always have to be that. It's always the most important thing to be, is authentic. But you don't need to be so loud about it. And you don't need to be so in everyone's face about it right now. You certainly don't need to be in your own face about it right now. The point is to just take it down a notch. Okay, with these cards together, what it's telling us is we're too involved in situations that might not even necessarily be good for us. Our emotions and our thoughts, our energy, it's also invested in things that might not necessarily be the best for us, right? It's almost like these cards are saying you took a really robust wrong turn. Remember, there are no wrong turns, so you don't need to freak out. There's only one direction in this life. We're just in this time-space reality, and so there appears to be different distance and directions and all that, but you're good no matter what. But what they're saying is, in a way, we've taken a turn, and we need to like, whoa, calm down before you get too invested and involved in whatever thoughts you've been carrying that aren't even a reflection of absolute truth. Reel it in, okay? Don't defend what you're in right now, because you might find yourself kicking yourself soon. You might find yourself going, oh my God, what the heck did I do? Oh my God, like I'm not so proud of this anymore. Or, you know, I don't know why I put so much of my energy into this, or defending this thing, or trying to make this thing work. Now I'm embarrassed, or now I'm ashamed. And we definitely don't want to create any of that. Those are the lowest frequencies, are guilt and shame. So don't do that. But understand that now is a time to not be so gung-ho about everything. Reel it in a bit. It's a time to more meditate, really tune into what's in your heart, and then go deeper to what's at the center of the heart of all hearts until you reach that truth. You will not reach that truth if you're not in a place of stillness, at least within. Yes, we're in these bodies, in this world. It's a busy, chaotic world, but there is no excuse. You can always go to that place. You can always go within. And that's what we're being called to do right now. So obviously, eliminating as much distraction as possible is going to be the best. Getting to a place of stillness, going into nature, or whatever, sitting in your car and rolling the windows up so you have that quiet. Whatever you need to do to go inside, all the way through to the heart of hearts, to that truth. You see, if we're so busy defending where we're at, we won't be able to see where we need to refine, what about our experience we need to refine. I don't know about you guys, but oh, Eric is saying sometimes we need to be humbled. And that's exactly what I was just about to touch on. I don't know about you guys, but I experience this often. And I would say more often as a little girl, you know, but less often as I become more aware of this pattern. But what I have experienced my whole life is this, you know, point that I would come to periodically where I'm defending something so strongly, only to the next day decide that wasn't even the best thing to do. That's not even the best thing for me. And then instead of feeling guilty or feeling shameful about it, I have acceptance and I make peace with it. And I say, oh, I was really excited about that thing, but today's a new day. So the best thing we can do is humble ourselves. Yes. Know that wherever you are is perfect. Yes. But also, in order to really refine our experience, which we're continuously, inevitably being called to do, we need to come to these points of stillness to be able to observe where we are at right now and why we're here. And regarding this card, it's first looking at where am I at right now emotionally and why am I here? How did I get here? I can't do that if I'm so busy being loud and proud. Take a moment. Take a moment. And the thing is, if you want to be loud and proud about something, you'll be able to do that at the perfect, most confident moment. But right now we're at this particular part of the process. So it's just not the right timing, okay? Everything's always in perfect order. But the secret of the 10, Arcanum 10 of Tarot, which is the wheel, is it tells us that there's always an optimal time and place to make decisions, right? That's why you could look at like a farmer's almanac, or, there's a specific time of the month to cut your hair, etc., etc. So yes, everything's always in perfect order. And with our conscious participation, with our conscious awareness, we can look to the cycles and seasons of the stars and nature and make the best decisions possible. This is what the sages of the old days did. Observe the patterns of nature and the cosmos, which are eternally reliable, and base our decisions on that. And that's what I'm getting at here, is there's a right time and place to charge forth and be proud and loud and show what you got. But right now is the time to go within. Get clear on our emotions and our truth first. And then belt it out when you're ready, in the perfect moment. And the ally, I'm pretty sure this was the past 2 weeks, no? Anybody know? Did we have a different one last week? I'm pretty sure the Reish has been the last 2 in a row, right? Somebody confirm in the comments. So anyway, here it is again. We have the Hebrew letter Reish, and if you want to Google it, just type in Hebrew letter Reish, R-E-S-H or R-E-I-S-H, either way it will come up. And every Hebrew letter has an associated hieroglyphic symbol. So the one for the Reish is the Rosh. It's the head. Okay, we have confirmation, yes. So this is the 3rd time in a row. And I'm telling you, this one was very clearly the one. It was like poked out, I saw it, I said, this one. So we're still with the same ally 3 weeks in a row. That's pretty awesome. Patterns say a lot. So we still got to get to that head, that top, that Godhead perspective, that big picture perspective. That's what the Rosh is all about. It's also connected to Arcanum 20 in the Tarot, which is judgment. In ancient Egypt, it's known as the sarcophagus. I didn't share this with you guys the last 2 weeks, but if you took my class, you know all about this card. So in ancient Egypt, it's known as the sarcophagus. And why? It's because it's denoting that when we die, this perspective, the Godhead perspective, or the mother-father Godhead perspective, is released from our body. But we don't need to wait until we die to acknowledge that perspective, because it's within us all along. Just as the body is within the sarcophagus, that's why that's the name of it in ancient Egypt, so is the spirit in the body the whole lifetime. So judgment, or the eyes of the Godhead, are looking through our own eyes, always. We're constantly judging ourselves, whether, aware of it or not. So it's about not waiting till we die, but understanding all along throughout life that perspective is within us and we have access to it. We don't need to die and leave this body, but we can certainly initiate an out-of-body experience where we pause, we release that perspective, that spiritual perspective, and we have it turn to face ourselves. This is real judgment. This is proper, righteous judgment. Only God can judge, right? You are one with that source. And this is how the process goes. We're judging ourselves through our eyes every moment, analyzing, perceiving life, and it can't be avoided. So it's about understanding how to access that proper, righteous perspective of judgment. And the only way we can do that is seeing through the eyes of the Mother, Father, God, Source, Godhead, big picture perspective. The head, the top, bird's eye view. Okay, those are all ways to look at it. So again, it's so clear that this is a perfect ally for this week, because it's saying, look, what would that perspective tell you to do? Calm yourself down, calm your ego down, put your sword away. And if you want to get back to the truth, the true truth, the universal, absolute truth, you have to see from that higher perspective. If you want to pull yourself out of the muck, out of the fog, out of the cloudy confusion that the ego has caused, You need to pull back and see the whole picture from the highest point. Okay? If we're truly seeing from this highest point, the top of the tree, in Kabbalah it's known as Keter, the crown, the mother, father, God, whatever you want to call it, then what happens is you begin to see from a balanced perspective of the unification of your intuition and your logic. Not just your intuition and logic, our intuition and logic. The forces of polarity, the divine feminine force, the divine masculine force, the Holy Mother, the Holy Father, and their unification as one, called God, Hashem, Allah, whatever you want to call it. And seeing from those perspectives means seeing from the purity of those perspectives, not your idea of what intuition is, not your idea of what logic is, but the purest forms of those forces. What would the truth say as it's filtered through logic into intuition, okay? You can see God, or the one where those two unite, as absolute truth, light, love eternal. And when that light, love, truth eternal comes through the two eyes, right, into this world of polarity, it sees first purely through logic and intuition, masculine and feminine. And then it's filtered even more through our personal experience and opinions and definitions as this ego in this lifetime. Okay? But we want to take it to those purest perspectives that are one with that truth, that ultimate truth. So from that truthful perspective, what does your logic tell you to do here? From that truthful, most high perspective, what does your intuition tell you to do here? Follow that guidance. That's the only way we'll be able to see beyond our own BS. So you might want to put the Reish on your altar. You might want to put it as your phone background. You might want to practice writing it. The frequency of each of the letters holds a particular key, just like the Vedic scriptures, just like Sanskrit. Hebrew is an ancient language formed consciously with awareness of our vibrational reality. Okay, so they hold keys. They're for anyone. It doesn't matter if you don't speak Hebrew. It doesn't matter if you've never seen it before. They are keys. If you want to know more about the Hebrew alphabet and Jewish mysticism or Kabbalah and how it's connected to the tarot, Torah, feel free to join our private group on Facebook called Shabbat Crew. You guys, if you look at the High Priestess in the Rider-Waite deck and in many versions of the tarot, she's holding a scroll. And in specifically the Rider-Waite and some others, it actually says Torah on it, T-O-R-A, which means law. Torah and tarot are absolutely connected. So feel free to join us in Shabbat Crew if you want to know more. And thank you guys for being here to extract this message with me today. Feel free to share it with your family and friends. Get everyone in the portal. Those who could use the message or those who could further activate it, get them in. I did post the Torah story for tonight for Shabbat. It's in our private group, Shabbat Crew. It's a personal video I made last year. There are many other sources as well, which I'm feeling called to share tonight, so I'll do that. Remember, the Torah is the original tarot. It's the tarot perfected. And if you want to know more about how or why, please join us in Shabbat Crew. I have another group as well on Facebook called the Archetypal Alliance, Walkers of the Royal Path. Please feel free to join us there as well. It's a private group where we talk more tarot and talk about the books and topics that are in these books. If you're interested in learning tarot from a new yet ancient perspective, the non-manipulated tarot, please reach out. Ask me about my books. Royal Path 1 is about the major arcanum and the Hebrew letter correlations, which you can almost never find in a modern day book, non-manipulated. Okay, so if you want to know the truthful Hebrew letter correlations, and you don't have to be afraid of manipulations, but if you want to know the truth, which will help you get farther, please ask me about my book. Royal Path 2 is about the minor arcanum and the elemental suits. Again, beyond manipulation. I share some very personal methods in here. So please feel free to read the reviews on Amazon. If you want to order, reach out to me direct. I'd love to send you a copy directly from my hands to yours. I'll sign them and I'll include a bookmark. I've got a few more books in the works, guys, so I'm super excited about that. If anyone has a favorite publisher for a children's book, please let me know. I'm still working on that project. And I am available for one-on-one readings. I've been having so much fun with all you guys doing these one-on-ones, so please continue to reach out. If you've been wanting a reading, get at me, private message me. Email me at info@royalpathtarot.com. If you know someone who has a birthday coming up, or even for a holiday, tarot readings make the best gifts because they are truly gifts that keep on giving. They're self-empowering. They give you tools that could change your life forever, beyond this body, beyond this lifetime. So if you've been struggling to find a personal gift idea, tarot is it. Book a one-on-one reading with me. Any age, any body, anywhere in the world. I have all the video platforms, and I'm happy to meet with any of you. All right, guys, thank you so much. Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. I'll see you in Shabbat crew tonight.